What's going on, guys? Welcome back to The Sauce. If you haven't guessed it, today we're doing the West Division. So without further ado, let's get saucing. Alright, so in the very first video, I already gave away the top four. So let's go ahead and get started with number one, the Vegas Golden Knights. So Vegas is honestly, in my opinion, the best all-around team in the NHL. They have amazing depth at forward, at defense, and they have the best goaltending tandem in the NHL. Marc-Andre Fleury backing up Robin Lehner. It doesn't get any better than that. On defense, they've recently added Alex Pietrangelo off of free agency from St. Louis, who was their captain, who has been a consistent defenseman throughout his entire career. He's a Stanley Cup champion. He's going to bring a great veteran winning presence to that locker room. Fantastic addition. Their defense is solid. Guys like Shea Theodore as well in the blue line. I don't know what else to say about that defense. Now the offense. My concern is their center depth. They just lost Paul Stastny back to Winnipeg in free agency, but they do have tons of firepower. Guys like Max Pacioretty, Jonathan Marchessault, Riley Smith, William Karlsson, who needs to get back to that 40-goal season he had when Vegas first started. But anyway, there's nothing to hate about this Vegas team. They're phenomenal. They're scary. They can win on any given night, and they can steal games with that goaltending tandem. All right, so going from one high-octane offense to another, the Colorado Avalanche at number 2. Now, the Colorado Avalanche had, I think, the best odds to win the Stanley Cup this year. I think, next to Vegas. It's close, and for good reason. They are scary offensively. Guys like Mikko Rantanen, Gabriel Landeskog, Nathan MacKinnon, who put that team on his back with so many injuries last year. And it was so hard to watch them lose in Game 7 against the Dallas Stars in last year's playoffs. Their depth at the forward position is scary as hell as well. You have Burakovsky, you have Nazem Kadri, it's insane. The list goes on and on. And at defense, you have the reigning Calder winner, Cale Makar. And with him, you have guys like Bowen Byram coming up in the blue line. You have Sam Girard. Do I need to go on about these top two teams? You know they're going 1 and 2, regardless of who you or I have picked, they're going 1 and 2. But I guess the last thing I'll leave off is their goaltending. It concerns me. So 1, they need to stay healthy. 2, I don't think Philip Grubauer is the answer for a starting goaltender. I think they need to make a trade for a true number 1 goaltender this year, especially in this West Division. They're going to come up against the Vegas Golden Knights at some point. It's going to happen. Everybody can feel it. So they need that number 1 goalie to help push them over the edge and move on to the Western Conference Final and onward. So at number 3, as you already know, the St. Louis Blues. Now, the St. Louis Blues are not going to wow you offensively, similar to the New York Islanders. However, they do have more offensive firepower, in my opinion, if they can all stay healthy. Guys like Vladimir Tarasenko, who has been injury-prone the last couple seasons. Guys like Braden Shen and their newly named captain, Ryan O'Reilly. I think they need to stay healthy. They need to get that creative mojo going that they had when they won the Stanley Cup and literally went from worst to first. The other thing about their offense is they have young guys coming up like Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou, who, if you're a hockey fan, you've been following some of these prospects you're very excited for. Again, we're early in the season. They've had some great games. They've had some stinkers, but these young guys that are coming up in the lineup are looking good, and the addition of Mike Hoffman in the offseason, we'll see if it pays off yet. He's been quiet so far. If you can get that scoring going, watch out for St. Louis. And on defense, as I mentioned earlier, they lost Alex Pietrangelo, their captain, but they did add Torrey Krug from the Boston Bruins. Maybe take that with a grain of salt. He is one of the best offensive defensemen year in and year out, so hopefully he can continue that production for the St. Louis Blues team. But their blue line, other than Torrey Krug, doesn't really have a lot of wow names out there, but they are pretty well rounded. They just need to bolster that blue line, play stout defensively, and I think they'll do okay. As I mentioned before, they won the Stanley Cup a few years ago, and it was a lot in thanks to their goaltender, Jordan Binnington. Now, Binnington did have a rough season last year. However, similar to Matt Murray, if he can find that mojo, I think the St. Louis Blues can really challenge for that 1 and 2 spot. I personally don't think they will get to that number 2 or number 1 spot. However, you never know with a team like St. Louis. They're just one of those teams that are going to fight you in the boards. They're going to get right into your face, and they're a well-rounded team. So they could surprise us yet. And sneaking in at number 4, as I've said before, the Minnesota Wild. So where do we start here? They have a goaltending tandem of Cam Talbot and Kähkönen. Kähkönen's the rookie. Cam Talbot had some good years in New York and bounced around a little bit, but is now in Minnesota. So similar to what I've said about some of the other goalies in the past, they just need to find that mojo and be consistent for this Minnesota team, and they can lock in that 4th spot, in my personal opinion. They have a lot of big names on that defensive blue line, guys like Matt Dumba, newly named captain Jared Spurgeon, Jonas Brodin, Brad Hunt. Hunt's not a big name, but he did play well for them last season, so I think defensively they'll be able to provide some good defense for the goaltenders behind them and really help these young forwards that they have come up through the pipeline. And speaking of their forwards, as I've mentioned before, I'm really excited about Kirill Kaprizov. He is looking really good in these first couple of games with Minnesota. Him, Kevin Fiala, Joel Eriksson Ek, and of course Zach Parise, who's always going to light the lamp and produce points consistently throughout the year. So if Minnesota can get some consistent and depth scoring up and down their lineup, I think they can lock in that number 4 spot, as I've said before. But you've known the top 4, now here's where it gets fun. So coming in at number 5, I have the Arizona Coyotes. I love this underdog team. I really want them to challenge for a top 4 spot. I just don't see it happening. They do have one of the best goaltending tandems in the league, behind, of course, Vegas and Montreal. They have Darcy Kemper and Antti Ranta. No matter which one is out of the lineup, the other one can step right in and steal some games for the Arizona Coyotes. Last year, they had one of the best defensive games of the entire league, and I think that's been a consistent trend with them, so I hope that stays true for the Arizona Coyotes. The one thing they need to get going is that scoring. Kind of similar to other teams I've mentioned in the past, the Coyotes have kind of been snake bitten with consistent through the lineup scoring. And if they can get that rolling and stay good and stay stout defensively, they could challenge for a top 4 spot. I don't think they'll get in there, but that's why I have them on the outside looking in. And of course, the loss of Taylor Hall didn't help the Coyotes any. And I think Phil Kessel needs to pick up his scoring touch that he left in Pittsburgh. And other guys need to step up throughout their lineup. They do have some good center depth, and they do have some good depth players and sneaky good players. Well, it's a lot of fifths. It's getting difficult. But anyway, the Coyotes are a fun team to watch if they can get the scoring going. Again, I just don't see them making the playoffs this year. So coming in at number 6, I have the Anaheim Ducks. John Gibson deserves better. This goaltender had an amazing save percentage last year. He stole plenty of games for the Ducks, and he tried to keep them in most games, but he can't do it all himself. And unfortunately, it's going to continue this year. I hope the Ducks rebound quickly and get this rebuild underway, or give John Gibson a better home, because he's playing lights out most nights, and it's just rough for him. So the Ducks are a team that are not getting any younger. They're a veteran team. The guys are losing their scoring touch. They are big-bodied. They're a strong team, which helps some of these rookies stay healthy and stay in the lineup, but I just don't think it's enough to really push the Ducks out of the bottom of this division. And as for the blue line, I really don't see anything special. They did get Kevin Shattenkirk from the Tampa Bay Lightning in the offseason, who I think they overpaid for, in my personal opinion. He did do great offensively with Tampa, but Tampa is one of those teams similar to Vegas. They're great all around. They're great up and down the lineup, from the net out, you name it. So on a team like that, it's not hard to shine. Hopefully I'm wrong on this one and he does well in Anaheim, but I really don't see anything special coming out of Anaheim. At number 7, the Los Angeles Kings. So the Kings have, I think, one of the best rookie pipelines in the NHL. They have guys like Gabriel Velarde. They have Quentin Byfield, who they just picked up number 2 overall in the NHL draft. And I don't think he's playing this season, at least not yet. Give it time, I think maybe they'll call him up. That's just a few of the rookies. I don't want to go too much into the names there. But they still have some great veterans. Guys like Drew Doughty on the blue line. They have Andrzej Kopitar up front, Jeff Carter up front. They have a lot of that scoring touch that's still there. They're always a pesky team to play, and they'll surprise quite a few teams in this league. But the West Division is just mainly those top 4 teams that are just going to battle it out points-wise as far as who's number 1, who's number 4. These last 4 teams that I'm talking about, they're on that decline or they're in the rebuild phase. And I just don't see any bright spots other than this rookie pipeline for LA. One of the main reasons I have the Kings so low is their goaltender, Jonathan Quick. Now, he used to be one of the best goaltenders in the league. He did win a couple of Stanley Cups with the Los Angeles Kings, but he just has not been that consistent number 1 goalie that he needs to be. So hopefully, not hopefully, the future does look bright for the LA Kings, but it doesn't look bright this season. And coming in at number 8, I wish I didn't have to do it, it's the San Jose Sharks. The Sharks are one of those teams that they were fantastic a couple years ago. They went all the way to the Stanley Cup final against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and then just ever since then have slowly been on this decline. I know they had a lot of veteran presence, and there's not a lot of young guys coming up the pipeline for them. I don't think they have as good of a rookie pool as LA does or other teams do. And that's what worries me about San Jose, is that I don't see a bright side of a young future with this team. Nothing excites me offensively about this team. I mean, they have consistent guys like Logan Couture in the lineup. Vander Kane's going through something, bankruptcy, I don't know, which can't help the team at all. Patty Marleau's re-signed with the San Jose Sharks, which is great for him, but I mean, he's probably going to retire at the end of this year. And then defensively, you have guys like Brett Burns and Erik Karlsson, who are phenomenal defensemen, but have just disappeared in these past couple of seasons. And it hurts the team when guys like that can't even produce points. So it's hard to say, but I don't see a bright spot for the San Jose Sharks. And I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but their goaltending? Jones has played awful in seasons past, and Dell, he hasn't been doing well either. That rhymed. Didn't mean to do that. My bad. But anyway, so I just truly don't see any bright spots for the San Jose team, and again, I wish it wasn't so. I truly enjoyed watching this team in years past, but I just don't think they're going to get out of the bottom. Very similar to the Ottawa Senators. All right, so there you have it. There's my in-depth of the West Division. That's 1 through 8, all squared away. I know these divisional rankings have been a long time coming, so thank you for your patience, and I really appreciate it. So make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share it to your friends and all your hockey fans, and you know what? Stay saucy. We'll see you next time.